Hello again and welcome to another episode of Large Facts. My name is Trey Hope, the developer of the show, and I want to thank you again for tuning in. Today's discussion is going to be related to software development books. The reason I want to do software development books is because I feel like reading is essential for any profession, but that statement holds very true for software developers. We constantly have to be learning about new technologies and stay on the forefront whenever there's a change in what we're learning about. So reading is very helpful for that. So there's two books that I'm reading right now that are related to software development that I wanted to share with you all. The first one that I'm reading is called Clean Code. Now, clean code is essentially what the title explains, how to write clean code. And that means going from bad code to good, efficient, and readable code. That way, when you pass on your project, or not even when you pass it on, if you just want other people to be able to read your code, which you should, then this kind of tells you how to do that. The book is broken up into three parts, and the first part is pretty much the kind of like the basics of it, the meat and potatoes of how to write clean code. So that's from formatting, better variable names, better function names, comments, error handling, all this stuff that could possibly make your code bad and how to operate it and make it good. The second part is related to case studies that people have found of those who have wrote bad code and how they got into good code. And the third and final part of the book is information that was gathered during these case studies. So I'm only on the first part, so I don't know what the second and third part is about ideally, but based on what I saw online, that's what they explained. But I just know the first part of the book, which I'm in right now, is just the meat and potatoes of how to actually write good code. And so far, it's been a very good book. I'm learning quite a lot. There's a lot of things in my code that I thought I was doing right, and it turns out I was kind of just going the opposite direction. One of the main things that I've learned so far is to avoid unnecessary comments in my code. For example, if I have a service called employee service, right? I might have a method in that service that says retrieve. And what retrieve does is retrieve all my employees. But with the name just retrieve is not as descriptive, so I might be inclined to add a comment that says, this method retrieves all employees. And so I'll add that at the top of the method call. Now, I know we've been taught that that's a good thing, but after reading this book, it's actually not a good thing. You should be more descriptive with your variable names and function names to the point where you don't even need the comment. So instead of employee service that retrieve, you can just say employee service that retrieve all employees. This way, you no longer need the comment at the top, and you can instead just go off of how specific the name is to let users know what the method is actually doing. So just little tidbits like that have actually helped me quite a lot with my coding. The book is about $24 on Google Play Books, not too expensive, but it gets a little pricier on other platforms. But overall, it's a good book so far, and I highly recommend it to anyone that's just trying to write better code. The second book that I'm reading is called Beginning Flutter, and this is I'm reading some very self-explanatory title books, I noticed that. But this is basically the beginning of Flutter. So the groundwork, how to get started with Flutter. And it starts from a point where it's like you don't have to come in with any knowledge of programming to begin with. You can really just, like I said, just no idea what code is, but you can start this book and kind of get your feet wet because it goes over just different programming basics like data types, how to import statements, switch statements, if-else statements, just things like that that are kind of universal for all programming, but they cover it in the beginning to help you catch up to speed. The second part of that book is the how to take your app to an intermediate level. All right. So the first part was about the essentials. The second part is how to get your app to an intermediate level to where, all right, it's no longer just a novice app. I'm starting to add a little more functionality, some more APIs, maybe a database, and I'm starting to become more serious with this app. The third and final part of the book is how to write production-ready apps. All right. So with production-ready apps, this means that the app is ready to be pushed to the market, it's ready to be for sale, and it's just finished, right? And this is kind of like the most important and final step of any type of development process. So it's very good to have this in the book as well. I haven't got that far yet. I'm still only on the first part, just like with the previous book. But like I said, I'm learning quite a lot, and it's just been very helpful so far learning what I have. One thing that I have learned about Dart that I didn't know was that it is AOT compiled, which means ahead of time compiled. So what that means is my code is already compiled ahead of time. So that means it's lightning fast, right? It's also JIT compiled, just in time compiled, to where that means any changes that I make in my code, I can see it instantly in the UI. And that's usually with the hot reload feature that automatically comes with Flutter. So instead of having to make a change in my code and then restart the entire app, I can instead just refresh it and I'll see the current state of the app with the updated variables. So that's something new that I didn't know about Dart or Flutter, but it's very helpful. And it's a lot of ingredients to this book. I'll say that. It's a lot of layers and things like that, but that's a good thing because I understand Flutter has a lot of layers to it as well. So this book is $22 on Google Play Books. Like I said, it gets a little pricier on other platforms, but not too expensive. I think it's definitely worth the money. So I highly recommend both of these books. I'm only on maybe like the first 4 or 5 chapters of both, but they've been helping me quite a lot. So I definitely recommend these for you. So those are the books that I'm reading. I would love to hear about the books that you're reading right now. Any software development books that you're reading that you feel like could help me or help anyone else. I would love to hear about it in the comments. So that's it for today's show. I thank you for tuning in to another episode of Large Facts. My name is Trey Hope. As always, stay happy, stay healthy, stay hungry, and I will see you next time. Have a great day.